this might be in poor taste. I'm a little bit limited in my clothing selections, but it's something, all right? Something's better than nothing, you know? Now let's head back in time.
Dìdi, 你们就是我的梦想。But sometimes it's a little hard.
And today we have Dìdi.
What does this button do?
No, not that Dìdi. I can't tell quite how much traction this film has, but of course I often find myself at my local art house cinema, and in doing so, saw the trailer for this film several times, and then they said they were going to play it. So I think it's going to get more of a wider release, probably by the time that I get this video up. But Dìdi is another one of those lovely coming-of-age films, but the setting this time around is going to be kind of something that actually I'm able to empathize with and relate to an extent. Being a young boy growing up in like 2008, all the the idiosyncrasies of that time period that I both fondly and not very fondly. Young Asian boy growing up in a household where he makes videos online, he has fun with friends, but at the same time he's trying to figure out how the world works, both with friends, relationships, socially, in school, out of school, then working with his family, trying to do right by like mom or grandma or sister, just navigating the waters of not only growing up as a kid in this culture where the internet is basically, as it was said during our showing, more or less a parent in itself, but also like the stresses and struggles of growing up as an Asian or Asian American in this case. If I have any still on hand, I'll love to throw in like a clip or two here and there, or like a picture or something. I was very lucky. I went to see this opening weekend at my art house cinema, and we had representatives from a local like Asian council of sorts of like Tennessee.
So this film is a heartfelt reminder that as we grow, so do our relationships with our siblings, with our parents, and even with the digital world around us. So grab all the snacks at the concessions, please silence your phones, and enjoy Dìdi. It's a story about finding your way together in a world that's constantly changing. So thank you for being here with us, and I really hope that you'll join us after for a post-screening discussion upstairs in the Jackson Education and Entertainment Space led by Jennifer Wong. Thank y'all so much.
They not only introed the movie, but then we went upstairs for a seminar afterwards where they kind of answered some questions, opened up the floor, really made it a safe place where we could talk about our shared trauma, because I did not think I was going to relate to this movie empathically as much as I did, but they helped to clear up some like cultural context, and people got to share their stories that pertain to this movie as well. So it was a very nice experience overall, directed by a Shawn Wayne. Now, I go on his IMDb. When we went there, they said it was his first film. Technically, it's his third feature film, but the first two ones that he did, full length though they may be, they are like documentary format. So is this his first like film? Like, I mean, if you want to talk about like narrative, dramatic, with like classic actors and such, then yeah, in a way it is. Give a shout out to our lead star of this movie. So the movie's called Dìdi, and there is a translation inherent in that, like that term, that word, but in the movie, he has a full name, but he goes by Wayne, and the actor's name is Isaac Wayne. So Isaac Wayne, I think he kills it in this role, does a very good job, similar to how Elsie Fisher, back when 8th grade came out, did a very good job of portraying like that age range of about to go to high school, but also just very like awkward and introverted while trying to have these little extroverted moments. I think that Isaac Wayne did a good job of portraying that sort of like the male aspect of all that, trying to navigate all these different waters, trying to be extroverted and social, but then having those vulnerable moments that lead to like introvertedness and that social isolation as well. He's only been acting since about 2019. Funny enough, I did cover one of the movies that he was in, Raya and the Last Dragon. He was Bowen. I never watched this movie, but he was Soren in Good Boys. I don't know if he was like a main character or not. Like I said, I didn't see the movie, but he's been in some like heavy hitters here and there. But then actually a more known name who's also in this and does an incredible job, Joan Chen, well known in film circles for sure. She was in the 1995 Judge Dredd as Ilsa, I think. but she was not only was she in the original like OG Judge Dredd, most of you cinephiles out there, especially if you're like a Lynchian fan of the Lynch Man, Jocelyn Packard, Little Miss Packard from Twin Peaks. And of course there's more cast members as well, the sister, the grandmother, which I believe the grandmother was actually Shawn Wayne's actual grandmother, if I recall that trivia correctly. There's other cast in this, but mostly it's about Wayne. It's about him and his relationship with his mother and his sister, primarily overall. Yeah, you see the trailer and you know it's going to be funny, you know it's going to be a kind of a time capsule of its time, as well as like a probably an emotional coming-of-age film. Now me, I knew that I'd probably relate to some aspects of it because, you know, you grow up in the age of the internet. I have, very technologically savvy, but that was kind of what I grew up in, was just on that like cusp of, you know, MySpace, and maybe I wasn't as active on like AOL Instant Messenger. I think I showed up a little bit after that. Like the tail end of MySpace is where I started getting old enough to learn how to use it. I was there. I was there. I was definitely growing up in the inception of Facebook, and I would like to take credit, though I was not popular. I was bullied. I was a weird little nerdy guy who people shit on in middle school. I do take credit for spreading the Farmville craze among my classes. Like, I started playing it, I started sharing it with all the other bozos. That was me.
We stand here amidst my achievement.
But I didn't think I was going to relate to the plot, like the premise of an Asian family, and yet I actually like the relationship that he has with his mom, and like the way that she was kind of having to be mom and dad as dad was away or just not really in the immediate situation. I actually really connected with a lot more than I thought I was going to. Painfully human coming of age is how I put it in this. We love a coming of age story. I personally love stories about imperfect people. You can go down the list. I love Past Lives, Worst Person in the World, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, The Whale. I always bring up films like those as the quick little go-to examples. Just throw Triangle of Sadness in there, but just films that basically give us people that are just imperfect. We're all human beings. We make mistakes. We make weird, dumb decisions and choices. And this movie is just, you know, it's growing up and learning how to be a human being in society. So I kind of already had this opinion formed after the movie was over, but we all watched it and some of us were like, that's real. And then other people that were even more able to relate to the story were like, oh man, that's too real right there. All the little quirks of internet, how it used to be, and like the platform that it was compared to the platform that it has now become. And they really nail all the little like idiosyncrasies and all the moments of like being a kid and having the internet and like what all that comes with, whether it's via YouTube or inappropriate websites or the social media landscape, and how sometimes we even let like social media dictate how we react to certain situations, how we treat certain people, and how we are going to decide to forge our path moving forward, for better or for worse. Put on here as a note, performances are like real. I oftentimes forgot that I was watching a movie. You're just watching this family, watching this kid interact with other kids and try to I keep repeating the same things over and over. All the characters in this film play their roles so well. Sometimes it's just, you get secondhand cringe and it's awkward.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
What?
I am nervous. I'm sorry.
You laugh at the hilarity, or you like, you know, shed a tear or two at the emotional moments.
Are you ashamed of me?
Everybody performs their roles so well that you sometimes, at least I did, I forgot I was watching a film sometimes. I'm not Asian, shocker, I know. Even though I'm not Asian, I did empathize with the protagonist more than I thought I would, both for better and for worse. Better in terms of, you know, those, you develop more of a relationship with your mother when you're a kid, if like she chooses to stick around and be mom and dad, which is kind of what Wayne's mother in the film very often had to do. But also there's the dark side of that, which is that it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows. You are going to butt heads. And the amount of times that my mother and I had shouting matches at each other over petty arguments and such. I mean, I'm sure I said my fair share of I hate you when I was a kid. Not as much as probably I love you. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I'm guilty of that too. But that's the nature of it. When it's like single mom trying to raise the kid, or kids, it's not going to be a perfect straight like course to run. Like, it's going to have plenty of speed bumps. and I did surprisingly empathize with, like, not only that aspect of it with their dynamic, but many aspects of the film and with Wayne's childhood. Pretty much near perfection. The only note that I put in here, and I think it's more of like a narrative complaint situation, I wish there was a tiny bit more closure at the end. Like, I get it and I understood why the film went the way that it did. The ending makes sense. The ending still gives us hope. Nothing's perfect. It's bittersweet, etc., etc. I would have liked to have found out what happened to some characters before the credits rolled. I would have liked a bit more closure and finality to certain aspects of the narrative. But that being said, I had no complaints about the movie itself. The movie itself was almost perfect, so I have no major complaints. It's a very nice, sweet, emotional, funny, sometimes cringy, awkward little coming-of-age film about a kid not only growing up being Asian, but also being Asian in America, also being Asian American during the mid-2000s, navigating family, internet, social circles, school, life, etc., etc. It all comes together very well with only minor complaints on my end. So all that being said, I would definitely feel very confident in giving Dìdi a low 5 out of 5. A low 5 out of 5, definitely like upper echelon of coming of age films. I still think ones like 8th Grade are like god tier. Again, that's my Bo Burnham bias kicking in right there. I love to rewatch it. I will probably buy it when it comes out. It's just a solid film, so definitely recommend going to check it out if you haven't already. That's all I gotta say about Dìdi. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review next. And goodbye, travelers.